In my hands, I have the Seiko SARX019, a 40mm watch from the Seiko Presage lineup. Now this watch is pretty dressy and is powered by the Seiko 6R15 movement, which is all pretty standard when you're looking at a Seiko Presage. But there's one thing that's very unique about this particular watch, and that is that you get an enamel dial at a great value price point. So let's take a little bit of a dive into what makes an enamel dial so cool and how much you can grab one of these watches for. In order to truly appreciate the work of art that this dial really is, you have to first understand what an enamel dial is and why it makes such a big difference to be on a watch. Creating an enamel dial is very complex and requires a high level of tolerance, and there's a lot of failure points as well. In order to make the dial, you have a base plate that's then coated with enamel powder. The base plate is then heated up in a kiln at very, very high temperatures, allowing that powder to melt and flow freely over the dial. This liquid-like state that the enamel goes through is one of the things that really gives it the character that you're looking at here. There's nice divots, there's nice rounding on the edges, there's no sharp edges really when it comes to an enamel dial, and it's really warm, organic, and overall very pleasing to the eye. If you really want to see the free-flowing nature of an enamel dial, take a look at the date window. You'll see that it's more round and you can see the divot from where the liquid kind of enters that area. Or take a look right into the middle of the dial itself where the stem comes out for the handset. Once again, the liquid flows into that hole. It all adds to the warmth of the dial and the organic flow and feel of it. Next, we'll move on to the indices and markers on the watch. You'll see here that they're actually painted on instead of being applied indices. This is something very common when you're looking at enamel dials. The reason why is when you're looking at applied indices, usually there's holes that are set into the dial itself as alignment points. Because enamel dials are essentially like glass and very fragile, you don't have the ability to really do that, which means that the dials need to be printed onto. And that is a very unique thing when it comes to enamel dials. Let's move on to the handset for the Seiko SARX019. So for this particular model, Seiko chose to go with a really nice blued style handset, which works very well with the creamy, warm texture of the enamel dial. I think that this handset color choice is fantastic for this watch. Now if you're looking at the seconds hand, you'll see a very small detail, and that's in the beautiful crescent that they use as the counterweight for it. It adds that extra little level of detail to the watch that you otherwise don't really look for, and it kind of blends in until you start looking at it. At the beginning of the video, I talked about how this watch is a great value piece for its price point. So not only are you getting a nice dressy watch that looks great, but you're getting something unique, an enamel dial. You don't get that out of a lot of other watches. You might be thinking, okay, this is expensive, but let's take a look at watch charts. Here we see that the watch sells for around $670 Canadian, which is around $425 USD at the time of me making this video. Even if we go onto eBay and let's take a look at some of the watches that are listed, you'll see that they're all in and around that same price point, hovering between $650 to $700 Canadian, and even if we're looking at sold listings, they're in that same kind of ballpark. So for the price of pretty much any decent entry-level automatic watch, you can get yourself a watch with an enamel dial on it, something that's truly unique, something that's more of a conversation starter. This is a watch I recommend to anybody, and I personally love the look and feel of it. If you're into watches, you're a watch enthusiast, and you really want to have something that you can talk to your friends about, definitely take a look into enamel dials. The SARX019 is just one example of a watch that's available with an enamel dial. There's quite a lot out there. Definitely take your time, look at them, and hopefully this video can show you that they are more attainable than you may have thought about, and that they are different. Let me know what you guys think. Is enamel your thing? Are you going to look for it? Are you going to try to add one to your collection? I'd love to hear below.